Today, the Supreme Court ruled to uphold a law that would prohibit the use of TikTok in the U.S. The justices unanimously determined that the law requiring the hugely popular app to either be sold or banned in the nation does not violate the First Amendment. The court also said the measure is necessary to address, quote, well-supported national security concerns. The CEO of TikTok posted his response to the decision on the app.
On behalf of everyone at TikTok and all our users across the country, I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us to find a solution that keeps TikTok available in the United States. This is a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship.
The president-elect also responded on social media this morning saying, quote, the Supreme Court decision was expected and everyone must respect it. My decision on TikTok will be made in the not-too-distant future, but I must have time to review the situation. Stay tuned. CBS News Supreme Court and legal producer Catherine Cole is following all of this in Washington for us. So, Catherine, can you further explain the court's decision, particularly how the justices concluded this law does not violate the right to free speech?
Yeah, so this is a unanimous 9-0 decision saying that this law doesn't violate either Americans' free speech right or TikTok's free speech right. What they concluded is that this law indirectly burdens speech, but that laws that further an important governmental interest can have these indirect burdens on speech so long as they don't go too far. And the court said the data privacy problems that Congress identified, that the government has defended, the fact that the Chinese parent company of TikTok can access the data of anyone who has TikTok downloaded onto their phone, that's a real problem. Congress judged that was a problem, and that the court isn't going to say that Congress didn't have a sufficient basis to assert that interest, nor that interest wasn't important. And so the court concluded basically Congress did what it needed to do here, and we can't overstep what Congress has decided.
How surprising is it that the decision was unanimous?
You know, not that surprising. I'll give you two reasons why. The first is that the lower court ruling was also unanimous, and that court also had Republican appointees, Democratic appointees. Basically, every judge who has looked at this law has said it passes constitutional muster. And then also, the court is unanimous more often than you'd think. In roughly half of the cases it gets, the court rules 9-0. It tends to be the more controversial, high-profile cases where they tend to split, and that's where you get this perception, perhaps misperception, that the court is more divided on the law than you'd think.
And President-elect Trump has previously indicated he wants to save the app. This is a reversal for him as well. Can he? Does he have the power to?
I'm not sure. I think he said he's going to try. He needs some time to review the situation. That's what he said on Truth Social. But the problem here is that this law is a matter of federal law. It supersedes executive authority per se, and it acts on the intermediaries, the tech companies that stand between users and TikTok. So the App Store, the cloud service providers, whatever you use to get to TikTok, those tech companies will face serious penalties right now if they allow you to get to TikTok once that January 19th deadline comes. What Trump could do, for instance, is say, we're not going to enforce it, though. We're not going to come after the tech companies. And maybe the tech companies take his word for it. That remains to be seen. He could also try leaning on Congress to repeal this law, but I think that would be an uphill battle. So Trump will try. Whether Trump will succeed, we'll see.
So, Catherine, I realize that this may not be your particular beat, but do we have an idea of what people will see when they open the app Sunday?
So I think on Sunday, the app will stay in place. We're hearing from the Biden administration that they're not going to really do they're focused on, closing up shop basically on Sunday. They're not enforcing this on Sunday, and that it's going to fall to the Trump administration. So possibly nothing changes, but if the tech companies decide it's not worth it, then perhaps you see an error message, or you go to the App Store and you search for TikTok and nothing comes up. But that's a question that comes down to those tech companies rather than right at this point, the Biden administration.
Yeah, the Biden administration, which says, by the way, that they'll decline to enforce it. More on that in just a second. Catherine Cole, thank you.